In this episode, we'll be talking about asset classes. Up to this point, we have been talking about money, what money is, what money does, and the jobs money must perform. Now, we take this next step, which is talking about investing. But before we talk about specific investments, we need to understand the holistic view. We need to understand the map. Because for most people, they get lost in investing, not because they are careless about investing, but because they don't have a map. So let's fix that now. Now, asset class is simply a broad category of investments that behave in a similar way. Now, think about it like a group of assets. So it is not a specific product. It is a group. It is a classification or a structure. Now, think about it like your food categories. Now, when you want to cook, you don't start by just picking specific spice. What you do is to determine what exactly do I want to cook. Then, what are the categories of protein, carbohydrate, and vegetables that should be represented there? That's exactly how investment works. Asset classes are like the food groups of investing. So if you understand them, you stop getting confused about the individual products. Now, let's look at the various asset classes. We have 5 asset classes that we're going to be looking at in this series. And number 1 is financial assets. So financial assets are investments that exist mainly as contracts or claims. You don't physically own them. You own rights to them. Example of financial assets are shares, bonds, treasury bills, mutual funds, derivatives, etc. These are the backbone of modern financial systems. For example, let's say you invest into a company like Zenith Bank PLC or Dangote PLC. You are not buying a physical object. You are not even buying the company. What you are doing is that you are holding a financial claim on value or performance. That is what financial asset is. Number 2 is physical assets. Now, these ones are tangible assets. You can see them, you can touch them, and you can control them directly. Examples of physical assets include land, real estate, properties, commodities, gold, etc. These assets often respond strongly to inflation and scarcity. They are real in the most literal sense of it. And that's why many people prefer them, because they feel like, I want to invest into something that I can see with my physical eyes. Those are real assets. Number 3 is business assets. And that's where you move from just investing in a financial asset or investing in a physical asset, and you are investing into an income generating system. And now, what you're doing here is not just to even invest into it passively, but to own the system. An example of business assets is private businesses, right? We have franchises, we have startups, we have partnership businesses. So these are examples of business assets. So here, you're not just investing in outcomes. You are building or owning the engine that produce the outcomes themselves. And this is one of the most powerful but under-discussed wealth creators. Most people don't see business as a wealth creator. They see it as business is business, and then investment is investment. But business is actually a great form of investment. And that is because for business, income is not limited by market pricing alone. It is driven by operations, it is driven by strategy, and it is driven by execution. You have a direct control over what happens in your business. Number 4 is alternative assets. Now, there are some non-traditional assets that you can't fit them neatly into any other category of assets. We call them alternative assets. They include artworks, collectibles, rare watches, digital products, digital assets. Now, for digital products, you hear things like music, right? Online courses, PDF. Those are assets that people own because they can generate income from them. When someone creates a digital course, they can generate money from it. And digital assets too, maybe cryptocurrency and some of those things. People generate money from those things. Now, let's say, for example, a rare watch like Rolex, for example, they can sometimes behave like store of value depending on rarity and demand. So if the value increases, then you also make more money from it. Even if the value does not increase, if the value is able to maintain over time, that's a store of value for some people. Now, these assets are often driven more by perception, scarcity, and demand psychology than by structured cash flow. And the fifth one is human capital. The fifth asset class is human capital. And to me, in fact, this is the foundation beneath everything. Because before you invest in anything outside yourself, you are already an investment yourself. Now, what does human capital include? It includes skills, it includes your education, your experience, your capability. And here is the truth that people most often overlook. Your ability to earn money is itself an asset class. Your ability to earn money is itself an asset class. And for most people starting out, for students and young professionals, that is the most important one. Investing in your ability to earn is your most important asset. Because without income capacity, you cannot meaningfully access other asset classes. Because you need money to invest in businesses, money to invest in financial assets or real assets. You need money to buy land. So you need to invest in yourself so that you can earn money to invest in those things. So asset classes generally are not competing options. They are rather complementary. They play different roles in a financial system. Now, each of them behaves differently, and each of them responds differently to economic conditions, and they all solve different problems. So the goal is not to pick one asset class. The goal is to understand how they all fit together. Now, imagine that you buy maybe real estate, and that is what you have. Now, real estate have its own place, but you also need to understand business assets. You also need to understand financial assets because they behave in different ways. And especially for diversification, which we're going to be talking about in a subsequent episode, it is necessary for you to understand all of these asset classes and how they complement themselves. Now that you understand the map of investing, we're going to go deeper. So what we're going to do is to now begin to look at each of them one after the other. Financial asset, business asset, all of them. So we're going to look at each of the 5 classes in depth, one after the other. Let's get to it.